Chag Sameach, and good Yamtav, everyone. I'm Cantor David Proser of Kempsville Conservative Synagogue, Kehillat Bet HaMidrash in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And today I'm discussing the Torah readings for the first and second days of Yamtav Pesach, which occur this year on Sunday, March 28th and Monday, March 29th. On the first day of Yamtav, we take out 2 scrolls of Sifrei Torah from the Ark. The Torah reading from the first scroll is from the book of Shemot, Exodus, verses 1221 to 1251. It can be found on page 385 of the Eitz Chaim Chumash and page 257 of the Hertz. If we were in a regular minyan and not on Zoom, we would read 5 aliyot from this section. As one would expect, the reading is very applicable to the observance of Pesach. Moshe instructs the elders in all of the laws of the first Passover in Egypt that will lead to their freedom. This is the actual Passover, the night when God will pass over the houses of the Israelites and will slay the Egyptian firstborn. All generations to come are to observe these Passover traditions. In addition, the children of succeeding generations are to be instructed at Passover as to the origin and significance of the festival. The Torah reading concludes with the last of the 10 plagues, the slaying of the Egyptian firstborn. Pharaoh summons Moshe and Aharon and tells them that he wants them and their people out of Egypt as soon as possible. We know that they had been prepared to leave quickly because earlier in this section of Exodus, as we read on Shabbat HaChodesh, they were commanded to take a lamb on the 10th of Nisan, tie it to the doorpost of their house, shecht it in the late afternoon on the 14th, use its blood to mark the doorposts and the lintel of their houses, and that God would pass over their houses as he smote the Egyptian firstborn, and also to eat that lamb with matzah and maror. And thus ye shall eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and with your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat it in haste. Moshe, Aharon, and the children of Israel readily comply and make a quick exit, but not before asking the Egyptians for gold, jewels, silver, and other finery, which they are freely given. The Torah also specifically mentions that they left without allowing time for their bread to rise. We would then take the second scroll and read the Mafta portion from the book of Bamidbar, the book of Numbers, chapter 28, verses 16 to 25. It can be found beginning on page 931 of the Eitz Chaim Chumash and page 695 of the Hertz. The Mafta reading is the same for both the first and the second days of Pesach. This Mafta reading is from the Parsha of Pinchas, where all of the Yamtav Mafta portions are found. They include Shabbat, Rosh Chodesh, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and the Shalosh Regalim, Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot, including Shmini Atzeret, and in our times, Simchat Torah, which is the same reading as Shmini Atzeret. These Mafta portions describe the sacrifices that were to be brought on each Yom Tov. This particular reading describes the sacrifices for the first day, which in our time has become the first 2 days of Pesach Yom Tov. The Haftorah for the first day of Yom Tov is taken from the book of Joshua, verses 5:2 to 6:1 and Pasuk 6:27. It's found beginning on page 1299 of the Eitz Chaim Chumash and page 1009 of the Hertz. It describes the historic Passover that the Israelites observed at Gilgal after they had crossed the Jordan River. It was the first celebration of Passover in the Holy Land. This was the first time that they were able to eat matzah that they had made with wheat from the Holy Land that they had grown themselves. On the second day of Yamtav, we again take out 2 scrolls from the Ark. The Torah reading from the first scroll would be from the book of Vayikra, the book of Leviticus, verses 22:26 to 23:44, found beginning on page 723 of the Eitz Chaim Chumash and page 1012 of the Hertz. We would again read 5 aliyot, as is the practice on a weekday Yom Tov. In this reading, Moshe instructs the Israelites in the observance of the Shabbat and of the festivals. The reading presents a comprehensive description of the sacred seasons of the Jewish year, including Pesach, the counting of the Omer, Shavuot, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. As I explained earlier, the Mafta reading from the second scroll is the same as was the first day. The Haftorah for the second day of Yom Tov is taken from the book of 2 Kings, chapter 23, verses 1 to 9 and 21 to 25, found on page 1303 of the Eitz Chaim Chumash and page 1012 of the Hertz. This passage was chosen for its account of the great Passover celebrated after King Josiah, King Yoshiyahu, after his reformation. In the 18th year of his reign, during the course of repairs to the temple structure, a scroll of the Torah was discovered. Its contents were apparently unknown to the high priest Chilkiyahu and to the king, suggesting that as a result of King Manasseh's policy of deliberate apostasy, knowledge of the Torah had virtually disappeared from Judah. According to Dr. Hertz, King Josiah was stirred to the depths of his being by the message of the book and proceeded vigorously to cleanse his kingdom of idolatry. He commanded the people to keep the Passover unto the Lord your God, as it is written in this book of the covenant, and thus its selection as the Haftorah of the second day of Pesach. Good Yom Tov, Chag Sameach. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to subscribe, like, hit the notification bell so you know when we post new content, and feel free to leave comments below. Good Yom Tov.